and welcome to today's practice. I don't know what it is. Well, I'll be moving around the house doing whatever I'm doing, and Nia will quite happily sit in his basket and not bother. The minute I get the camera out and start filming, he just has to be right next to me. So hopefully you're going to be able to see what we're doing. So this is just going to be a shorter practice, and we're going to begin by lying down on our mat. So if you lie down, bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees drop open to the sides. Now if you've got blocks or bricks and you want to pop them underneath your thighs, you can do. The other thing you can do is clench your fists and place your fists underneath your thighs for some support. If you're not using your hands underneath your thighs, just take your arms alongside you, turn your palms to face upwards. If you're comfortable to close your eyes, we'll close the eyes. And just start to connect to your breath. Let your shoulders soften down towards the earth. And begin to let go. So parigraha translates as non-possessiveness. It's about letting go. And we cling on to all sorts of things. So I'm in a situation in my life that I'm not particularly happy with, just very temporary, just at the moment. And I find myself clinging on to it and resisting it and resenting it. And I realise that it's really important that I just let it go. There's nothing I can do to change anything. I just have to be with it. So I just need to allow it to be there. We can hold on to our breath when we're stressed. Again, not good for us. So just check that you're not holding your breath. Allow it to flow. We can hold on to possessions when we no longer need them. We can hold on to people. We can cling to people, which isn't healthy. Just it's about taking a step back and just allowing everything to move around you as it will, without trying to hold on to any of it. So just let your breath flow through this practice. A couple more breaths here in this pose. And then when you're ready, just take your hands behind your thighs, draw your knees in towards each other, bring them in towards your chest. And then just take a little bit of a rock from side to side. And while you do that, I'm just going to get rid of the dog. Okay. So just taking a little rock from side to side. And then just gently drop your knees over to the right, extend your left arm out and turn to look out over your left shoulder. We're not going to be here long, just a couple of breaths. A little bit of twist in the spine. Inhale to bring yourself back through to centre, and then as you exhale, knees to the left, extend out your right arm, turn to look out over your right shoulder. Just heavy through the right shoulder, releasing any tension. And then as you inhale, bring it back through to centre. Keep your right knee in towards your chest and just extend your left leg out along your mat. And if you need to, if it's better for your back, just keep the left leg bent. And I'm just going to start to circle the right leg, the right knee. We'll take it in both directions. And then we're going to bring the right foot to the inner thigh. And just find a version of tree pose, but lying here on your back. And again, if you want support underneath that right leg, you can use a block, a cushion, or your hands. Just support the leg. Just opening through the hip. Inhale, bring it back through to centre. Take your right leg down onto the mat, left leg in towards the chest. Just starting to circle then through the left knee. I find you kind of rocking on your pelvis a little bit. Just try and be as stable as you can. but there will be some movement. And then left leg into tree pose. And if you're comfortable to have the leg, and you've got the kind of the strength there, I guess, as well as the mobility to hold the leg in place, then do. And if you haven't, then just support it. You might just flex out for the right through the right foot, so just like you were standing in tree. And then bring the left knee back in towards the chest and the right leg, and we'll straighten both legs up towards the ceiling. Soften the shoulders down towards the mat, and then we're just going to take the legs out wide. So just finding your comfortable place here. So you've not got the legs, it's not a core strengthener, they're not kind of moving down towards the floor, kind of towards the end of your mat. You're keeping ankles in line with hips as much as you can, and you can bend the knees as much as you need to, that's fine. If you want to add in a bit of extra, you can just rest your hands on your inner thighs. Soften through the shoulders and the face. And then we'll bend the knees, bring the knees back in towards you. Cross the ankles, and we'll just roll up and down the spine a couple of times. And then come through to seated, and we'll come straight over onto all fours. Stack knees underneath hips, wrists underneath shoulders, and then grounding down with the base of each finger and finding a little bit of space between each finger. Take a few rounds of happy cat, angry cat. So as you inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the chin. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, chin to chest. Inhale, draw the heart forwards, lift the belly, drop the belly. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. I don't know if you can hear Neo barking outside. Couple more rounds of this. And then come back through to a flat back and extend your left leg out to the side. We're going to tuck the right toes underneath. I'm just going to take the hips back towards the right heel. It's like a child's pose, but with the toes tucked and the left leg extended. If you comfortably can, bring your forehead down onto the mat. If that doesn't work for you, you can pop a prop underneath it. Couple of breaths. Creep the hands out in front. You might even come onto tented fingers. You can constrict the base of the throat, work with a breath with sound if you wish. Inhale, we'll come back up. Bring the left leg back in, knee bent underneath you, extend out the right leg. So same thing other side, tuck the left toes underneath. I haven't got much room here, just make sure you've got enough room. Take your hips back towards the left heel. And again, tented fingers if that feels appropriate. And again, you can bend the right knee if you wish. Just keeping breathing, one more breath. And then as you inhale, we'll come back up onto all fours. And from there, tuck the toes underneath, lift the knees, downwards facing dog. And then just pad out the feet. Do whatever you feel that you need to. So just start to stretch out the body, feel into any tight places. And then as you inhale, ripple the spine forwards through to plank. If it feels okay, I'm just going to drop the hips down, lift the heart forwards. Hips up and back, downwards facing dog. So if you didn't like the back bend aspect of that, you could always just stay in plank. Inhale to come forwards. If it feels okay, we'll drop the hips, lift up through the heart. Inhale, downwards facing dog. Let's do that one more time. Forwards to plank, drop the hips, lift the heart. Keep the shoulders soft, hips up and back, downwards facing dog. Okay, and then rather than pressing down through the big, the thumb and the first finger side of the hand, through the knuckles at the base of the thumb and the first finger. Try the other way. Try pressing down the knuckles at the base of the little finger and the two next to it, so the outer three fingers. And see how that changes your down dog. So we are all very, very different. What works for some doesn't work for others. So that generic cue of pressing down through base of thumb and first finger actually might not work for you. See how it feels if you do the other side. It actually feels like I get a little bit more space around the shoulders and the neck. So just having a play with that, we'll take one more breath. And then inhale, come forwards through to plank. And then very slowly, we're going to lower all the way down onto the mat. So see if you can come down to a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Untuck the toes, clasp the hands behind the back. Inhale, lift up, Skandasana. Couple of breaths here, using your inhales to find the lift. And then exhale, release it down. Hands under shoulders. Tuck the toes. Pressing up into plank or onto all fours. Hips up and back, downwards facing dog. Connect to your breath. And then use your next inhale to float the right leg up behind you. And then for the first couple of breaths, keep your right hip point facing down. So we'll keep the hips square. So your inner right thigh spins up towards the ceiling. Now keep the shoulders as they are, and then we'll open up that right hip, bend the right knee, stack your right hip on top of the left. The tendency there is to drop the left shoulder. Try not to let that happen. And we're going to square off the hips. Bring the right knee through, try and touch your nose, and then gently step the right foot through between the hands. We're going to ground the left foot, Virabhadrasana 2 as you inhale. Soften your shoulders. And sometimes it can just be more relaxing, more restful to turn the palms to face up and put a little bit of a bend in the elbows. So if you want to do that, then that is certainly an option. Inhale to straighten the right leg. We're going to find our way into a wide-legged Trikonasana. So just tipping down to your right-hand side. You can look up. If that feels bad for your neck, then maybe down or forwards is a better option for you. Whichever you're doing, extend out through the crown of the head. We're going to take this into our half moon. So bend your right knee, come back through Virabhadrasana 2, take your left hand to your waist, and then on your inhale, weight comes forwards. Right leg is strong, left leg floats up towards the ceiling. If it's all feeling good, you can take your left arm up towards the ceiling. So opening through the hips. Now, option 1 is to stay here. You can take your right hand to a block, you can bend your right knee. Option 2, maybe you can bring your right hand to your heart. Couple of breaths. Whoa. We're going to step it back into Virabhadrasana 2. And then from there we'll straighten the right knee, turn the feet to parallel, clasp the hands behind the back. Shoulder blades draw towards each other as you inhale, lift up through the chest, and then soften the knees to exhale and fold forwards. Again, you can bend the knees if you need to, and straighten the legs if it feels appropriate. Two more breaths. Each exhale bringing you into the pose. And then soften the knees. Inhale, bring yourself back through to upright. Right foot turns back towards the front edge of the mat. Come back through your Virabhadrasana 2. And then we'll just pivot the hands down to face the right foot. You can step back to downwards facing dog, or you can take a vinyasa. Maybe you can leave the right foot lifted and work through a one-legged vinyasa. All meeting in downwards facing dog. And then inhale, float the left leg up. So again, just for a moment, keep the left hip point facing down. Spin the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Keep the left foot flexed. Square off the shoulders, and then try not to move the shoulders. We'll open the left hip. So you can bend the left knee. And then with control, we're going to square off the hips. Bring your left knee in, try and touch your nose. And then step your left foot through between your hands. Ground your right foot. Virabhadrasana 2 as you inhale. So we'll just hold it for a few breaths. Again, the option to bend the elbows, turn the palms face upwards. It can feel much more receptive. Maybe a kind of almost a letting go as well. Releasing that you don't need to be holding on to. Okay, use your next inhale, straighten the left leg, lengthen there, Trikonasana. Bend the left knee as you come down. You can keep the left knee bent as much as you need to. You can straighten the leg if it feels appropriate. Again, if you don't want to look up, just look forwards or down. Ground through the legs. A sense that with the leg muscles, you're hugging the muscles in towards the bone. Maybe with the arms, you're hugging the muscles in towards the bone. One more breath. Bend the left knee, inhale, come back up through Virabhadrasana 2, and again we'll move into that half moon. Right hand to the waist, right foot steps forwards, left hand down. Right leg floats up. You're trying again to really open the hips, so you're stacking right hip on top of your left, right shoulder on top of left. And again, if it feels appropriate, maybe left hand to heart. We're going to step it back into our Virabhadrasana 2, soften the left knee, step it back behind you. And then from there, we're going to straighten the left leg, turn to face the long edge of your mat, and I'm just going to turn around so that I'm facing you. This time have your heels out, heels in, toes out, bring the hands to the heart. And we'll just start higher up, just moving from side to side. Mindful of movement. If it's feeling okay, we're going to come down lower. Skandasana. Now you can keep your hands down and walk your hands from side to side for a little bit more support. If you feel you're able to, you can keep the hands lifted as you move from side to side. The next time you come over to your left, we're going to stay there. Left hand to the floor, the right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Extend out through the crown of the head so you find a nice long spine, and we'll twist. For those that can, you can bind the hands behind the back. Okay, inhale, we'll come out of the twist, and then just gently, we're going to set ourselves down on our mat. Bring the left foot in towards the groin. So legs are wide, but the left leg is bent. Lengthen the spine as you inhale, and as you exhale, fold forwards. If it's tight in the right leg, you can bend the knee. Connect to each breath you take. Fully present in each moment. Okay, inhale, walk the hands back in towards you, come back through to upright. We might need your hands for support. We're going to come back through into that kind of half squat, and then we'll take it over to the other side. So right leg is bent, left leg is straight. We'll find a twist, right hand to the floor, left arm up towards the ceiling, or you can wrap the hands and find that bind. One more breath. Keep the chest open. And then coming out of the twist, we'll gently lower or sit ourselves back down. This time right foot in towards the groin. Lengthen the spine as you inhale, as you exhale, fold forwards. Again, bend the left knee if you need to. Each inhale lengthens the spine, each exhale takes you forwards. Take one more breath. Inhale, walk your hands back in towards you, come back through to upright, and then straighten out your right leg. And so maybe that's kind of where you're comfortable, maybe you can hitch yourself forwards a little bit more. Feel free to sit on a block or a brick. Lengthen the spine as you inhale, let your pelvis start to tilt forwards, and just finding your way into Skandasana, your wide-legged forward fold. So try and keep the feet active, press out through the soles of the feet. Try not to round the spine here. Really try and find length. Navel draws forwards. Again, maybe tented fingers, maybe hands down, maybe you're resting your forehead on the back of your hands, whatever suits you. Soften the shoulders. Breathe out tension. Breathe out anything you don't need to be holding on to. Something isn't serving you, letting it go. Couple more breaths. Inhale. Walking the hands back in towards you, coming back through to upright. And then we're going to draw the right leg back in. Just turn round to face the front edge of your mat. Step your right foot back behind you. And you can go straight to down dog, or you can move your way through a vinyasa. Or meeting in downwards facing dog. And then bringing your knees down onto the mat and coming through into Anahata. And this is just our kind of final pose for this practice. So forehead down onto the mat or onto a block or a brick if you need support. For those that can, you can take your chin onto the mat, but you need to be really mindful of the neck. So just do what suits you. Heart melting pose. One more breath here. And then just gently take your hips back towards your heels, come through into your child's pose. Arms alongside the body. One more breath. And then use your next inhale to come through to upright. So just a very short sequence for you today. And we'll just take a short relaxation. So lying yourself down for your Shavasana. Bring your awareness to your breath. Inhaling. And then really focusing on your out breath. So again, that sense of release, letting go, breathing out that which we don't need. And you could say to yourself with each out breath, let go. Inhaling and exhaling, let go. And just staying there for as long as you need to. Thank you for practicing with me today. See you next time. Namaste.